What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sino here, putting some respect and love to the name of Lady B. I thought I might have done this before in a video, but I don't seem like I have. And I'm like, how did I do that? Like DJ Pam and Lady B was the essential backbone for hip hop in Philly from the inception. Like you can't even talk about anything without Lady B. Especially even just East Coast period. New York rap. She came out with her song in 1979. She had a record deal. Had a song called To the Beach Y'all. People would sample it all the time. It became a classic. Lady B was the known fixture in the community out there in Philly. Now her career as an artist didn't work out, but she found her niche when she went to radio. She was at home at the radio station in communications and music, period. And she was the first one to bring hip hop to the FM. Everybody was normally doing AM stations at the time, like for hip hop. But she really broke the door down because people would gravitate to try to listen to her when she was spinning. I didn't know about her until many years later. Many years, because I was a baby when she was doing her thing out there. Just a child. Just like many other children. So if you was on the East Coast, we wouldn't have never heard most of the records here. See, we're in the Midwest, Chicago. So let me explain to you something right now. How you'd be like, well, she's just a Philadelphia DJ. Let me explain something to you guys who might be in the Bay or other walks of the world where the music you think you've heard of it, but you didn't never hear of Pam or Lady B. You heard of DJ Pam. It's the same way with DJ Pam. If it wasn't for these DJs, the song wouldn't have got the traction it got. If they didn't take the chance to spin it first and get it hot in another area, that song wakes up other DJs to say, hey, oh, that song is killing in the club. People are playing that now because they've already heard it on the radio. So if you breaking the song and getting people to like it or to hear it, and then they like it just like you liked it, then it's picked up and it's distributed more, and of course, across the nation and other stations, because everybody wants to know the hit song. People, they travel every day. Everybody in the club ain't from that city. They travel. And they'll be like, oh, it's this song I heard, man, in the club over there in this city. It's knocking. So they always want to have the newest thing. See, back in the 80s, people always wondered what they had in another city, and they tried to be the first one to bring it to their city. That was the way it worked back then, especially with hip hop. So they'd be like, oh, what song is that? What song that y'all got over there? And they want to be the one to break it. Like, oh, I'm going to break that song out. Man, y'all ain't know about this record. Yeah, but y'all know about this. It's like being the first person with the newest pair of Jordans, copping them 2 weeks before they even out on the streets. You was the man for them 2 weeks, wasn't you? Yo, we got the new Jordans already. How'd you do that? So that's what Lady B meant to hip hop, because she was breaking artists, not just Philadelphia artists and anybody in the tri-state area, New York, period. She was breaking them out. I would have never heard some of these records, probably never heard of them, if it wasn't for her. You know, I would have never heard PSK if it wasn't for Lady B. PSK, what does it mean? Man, PSK. Biggie took it and made it a hit. It was so much of a street anthem as a kid. When you heard it, it was like legendary. Biggie flipped that to B.I.G. What does it mean? Man, it was crazy time, man. Thinking about old hip hop, man, you just get to be like, man, we had a great time. Like that was what it, man, it was, that's what it was. Like it's hard to explain sometimes. It was so dope. But over the years, politics started to come into play. And as the years went by, she was breaking all these artists. And she worked at the radio station at what, Power 99? Now, as Power 99 started to change over the times, new management, new promoters or people that's showing up there, times started to change. She was no longer the hot commodity anymore. In the community, she was always plugged into the community. And as she gotten older, she was still good at her craft, still great at knowing what music is music. The music changed. The way people consumed music changed. But she still had a staple as the internet became the new wave. That's not why things decided to change for Lady B. Things started to change because it got more political. Not the music, the people that worked there. And they decided Lady B in 2017 was no longer viable to the company, knowing she was the biggest staple that company had. To me, she's more important than Flex. Way more important than him. To the culture, everything, and to the community. They had no problem with her playing the records. They had no problems with anything she was doing, except they wanted her to tone down anything she's talking about with the community. Trump was in office. They weren't trying to hear it. They didn't want her spreading that over the airways, over the FM radios. So she would play the music, she dialed it down, but would still express herself. And she would not be dominated by these men. Now, once Trump was in office, people like Roland Martin, Tom Joyner, and a lot of other black radio stations were in their final years of contracts and weren't being renewed. Lady B was another one who was immediately terminated. Immediately, without any word from the station. Somebody who has been working with them for probably, I can't even count how long it's been, 20, 30 years at this station. You know, like, you've got to be kidding. The people of Philly went nuts. All the love and support came out for Lady B. You just couldn't imagine the impact that had in the hip hop circles. Now, she was telling people about what's that lie heap, that government thing for homeowners. She talked about different things in the community to try to help them for different support. She supported black colleges, the the HBUs. So she was always somebody who was aware and conscious over what was happening to her. But the question should have went to Urban One Radio. Urban One is the name of the company. Now it's called Urban One, right? Which makes you believe it's black. I wonder how many people that are black work at Urban One. They bought the radio station, and they're the ones that's out here sending out the disciplinarians to manage and monitor everything African Americans are saying to African Americans, and giving them information and about the community and how to help the community over the airwaves. Well, that's not gonna work in these times. It makes you wonder why things haven't been getting fixed lately, because the wrong people are in power. You see, everything is a circle. It's one big circle. Now you start to see, like, man, that problem ain't connected. That problem's connected to everything else. How many times you worked at your job and you felt disrespected, or you was disciplined for some BS when they let somebody else on the job get away with it all the time? Why? Because they want the guy that's gonna play ball, the nice guy who ain't gonna cause any waves. He's just gonna show his teeth and grin, and they pay for his skin. He might look darker than you, and they're gonna put him in there to replace you. And everything that you held on to and had morals, he just say, the hell with that, I want that money. And then without any morals and principles, they just run out there. They just run out there. So I don't understand it personally, and how people could even go in through life and let people who are our backbone and our foundation of strength and had the support of the people, how they just get stepped over and nobody say anything, like in the hip hop community. I thought I had done this video. That's why I was like, man, I'm gonna end up making this video twice, because I know I did it. And I didn't. I looked around, I said, I didn't do this video on Lady B. I think I mentioned her in one of her Truth Behind, because I think she broke the record. Or I was in a live stream, because I remember we was doing the PSK song, and I know if it wasn't for her, I would have never heard PSK getting this cream. People always say, what the hell does that mean? So, and that was a day too that everybody would do battle records. Like, they would do a diss response. And that didn't mean they hated you and wanted to fight. It was actually a thing of beauty. You wanted somebody to diss your record, because if they diss your record, then it's like, oh, okay, cool, we can have a back and forth. That's what you're hoping for to get out of it. If the diss isn't whack, you can get a response record. But the artist normally liked it because it kept their record out. Like, if somebody made a diss response to the record, it keeps your record rotating in the top 100s or 200s, because now there's a diss response to it. So now it's like, okay, all right, now we can go back and forth. That's how old hip hop was done. So there was diss responses to records people didn't even know about. That was transpiring in there. Like, but some of it wasn't good enough for the artist to even care about, for them to go back and forth. But like, it was so many Roxanne diss songs. Remember when the real Roxanne came out? It was just like everybody was going back and forth after that, seeing the success of battle rapping. So now if somebody diss you on a record, it's like, oh, should I shoot him? It's like, no. Make another record back. But now it's just so crazy that it ain't even worth it to make a diss video. It just isn't. It's not worth it at all. So and that's why people, when I say the tri-state area, that's Philly, New York, Jersey. Okay, that's the tri-state area. So Philly, New York, and Jersey. Those three right there, the tri-state area. You need, so that anybody from Jersey make a record. Like Redman, that's how he got hot in Philly. Redman was dominating with no radio. Mobb Deep, the reason why they blew up. Lady.B was spinning them in Philly. Somebody talking about Queensbridge in New York all day. They were blowing up in Philly. They were in the clubs in Philly before New York radio was even picking them up. So when Philly had the wave and the momentum with Lady.B, that opened up all the stations like Hot 97, the Power Station or whatever, Power FM. It opened them up to do more hip hop, to try to keep up with what was going on over there. But other people was getting credit for what Lady.B was doing. I think it was Mr. Magic them who was doing their thing at the time, and shouts out to them. They did their thing, but they took a lot of credit away from Lady.B, and she never ever said a word. Never said a word about it. I'm very proud to have learned my history enough to know a little bit more about her. It's like, man, let me go research some more about Lady.B. Because I remember her, and I was very thankful that we had somebody that was on our team who was for the little person, the small person. She wasn't just playing major people records. Imagine playing all the regular hits that's number one on the radio station, then to have your song appear on that same station. That's unheard of without some form of payola. Now, for me, things didn't change. And times had changed. The internet, everything. Everybody went their own way. It was a whole different time. People couldn't even function. So, as long as those things were in place, you were never going to have a fair anything. Everything would be questioned. I never understood for the life of me why certain people never, or they have problems doing songs with people who they felt was old. Like, I don't want the fans to think we caught up in that. Like, what does that even mean? I don't want the fans to think we caught up in that. Where does that make sense? Caught up in what? That's what blows my mind. It's like, I don't want our fans to think we caught up in that. Caught up in that. You paying homage to people that you wouldn't even have a record deal if it wasn't for these people. At all. Nobody be checking for you. You talking about you don't want to feel like you caught up in that? Maybe you should have been caught up in that. Because all of those artists who talking about they ain't want to do those songs with the older people and didn't want to be associated because they didn't want them to be caught up in that, their careers is over. I mean, their careers are like done. So what does that really do for you? What does that really mean? Means means nothing in layman's terms. So for all y'all out there, you want a hip hop assignment, that's it. They need to put some respect on Lady B's name. Oh yeah, definitely like the video, subscribe to the page. God bless all of you, man. Hopefully you guys are doing well, having a great, healthy Friday. Love, peace, and hair grease.